Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. We're excited as always to share a little bit about Boostability and what we're doing for our partners and their small business clients all over the world. My name is Jeff Panting. I'm the Partner Marketing Manager here at Boostability, and I have with me Nick Padilla, one of our awesome Partner Growth Managers. He's going to give you an inside look at our unique Launchpad platform. It's usually a behind-the-scenes tool that we have, so you're in the right place today to get a unique walkthrough that most people don't ever get to see. Before we get started, I also want to mention our Boost Chat channel on Twitter. The hashtag is there in the corner. You can ask questions or give comments and feedback during the webinar using that hashtag, or you can just use the question feature that's probably on the right side of your screen. We'll leave some time at the end to go over as many questions as we can. We'll also share a link to this recording and a page where it's hosted. And we'll have a full list of all the questions and answers in case we can't get to everything today. That should be available by tomorrow at the latest. So feel free to just post any questions as we go, and we'll get started. All right, here's what I want to cover today in this webinar. I'll start out with a brief history of Boostability so you know where we started and where we fit in the SEO market today. And then I also like to give a quick overview of what SEO is. It's not a new service by any means, but there are still a lot of misunderstandings out there about what exactly SEO is and how exactly it works. That'll give us a foundation so we're all on the same page when I get into the main part, which is the BoostSEO Method. That's our methodology for executing our SEO strategy, and it's half of the reason that we've been so successful. The other half is Launchpad, and that's our internal campaign management system that handles every aspect of every single SEO campaign that we work on. Every step from when a partner enters a new client, all the way through all the fulfillment tasks, to the keyword tracking and reporting, all of that goes through Launchpad. It's an amazing piece of technology. All right, so let's get into it a little more. Boostability was founded way back in 2019. In the world of online marketing, 2009. In the world of online marketing, that's a long time. You know, there's so much constant change for small businesses, and there has been for Boostability as well. A lot of people don't know it, but when we started out, we were offering a DIY SEO solution for small businesses. We knew that clients had tight budgets for marketing, and so we thought providing some kind of roadmap for them to do their own SEO was the way to go. But we found out pretty quickly that there's one thing in shorter supply for a small business than money, and that's time. So we retooled, reorganized, and became a full-service SEO offering. And the Launchpad platform was the foundation of that transformation. And we'll get into that in more detail in the second half. But throughout this whole process and through our whole history, Boostability's mission has always been to help small businesses succeed online. And in the pursuit of that, over 10 years, we've grown into the largest provider of white label internet marketing services in the world. We measure that by the number of clients that we've had, not by revenue, because we're unbelievably affordable for small businesses, but we measure that by how many small businesses we've helped. And right now that's 27,000 and counting. And the interesting thing is that most of those clients don't even know that we exist. The majority of the work that we do is on behalf of a growing network of partners here in the US, Canada, Australia, Europe, really all over. Okay, so let's get into what is SEO. I always like to include this whenever I talk about Boostability, because even now, after years and years of SEO being around and available, people still have different ideas about what exactly it is. So to keep it as simple and straightforward as possible, this is Boostability's definition in a single sentence. SEO is the work that goes into getting a website to rank organically on the first page of search engines, usually Google. At the most basic level, that's what SEO is. There are a lot of other marketing options out there that people lump into SEO. Some people think PPC or reviews or social ads, email marketing are SEO. Some of those can contribute to your site's overall organic presence, but on their own, none of those are really SEO. SEO is a more holistic process. So I mentioned that it's work that goes into SEO is work, and the goal of that work is to increase your search rankings for keywords that are relevant to your business. But how exactly does Google do that? Or how do we do that to make Google know that you should be ranked higher? Google looks at a website based on two things, and there's actually a huge number of small things, but they generally fall into two categories. That is relevance and trust. When you enter a search term into Google, it looks at your site and it asks, number one, are you the best, most relevant answer for this search? And two, what other sites can vouch for you? Meaning, who else can we trust to know that you're the best answer for this? Relevance, the first thing I mentioned here, to rank well on search engines, you need to show them that you're the most relevant answer to the search terms that you want to target with SEO. For example, have you ever searched for a local service like a dog groomer and you get pages of results for lawn care? Probably not, and that's because Google does an amazing job of finding out which websites are relevant to every search term that people throw at it. To build relevance or to show this relevance, that's we call that in the industry, that's on-site work or on-site optimizations. Those are things like the actual content of your site. Do you have schema markup? Do you have the right tags in the right place? Are your meta descriptions there? Is the content of your page copy relevant to that search? This is the stuff on your website and behind the scenes of your website that Google looks at to determine that relevance. The other thing I mentioned was trust. That's the second thing Google is looking at, and this is more about the off-site work. This is what you do to show Google that you're a trusted authority for whatever search term your on-site content aligns with. It's basically what other sites are vouching for you. And the off-site work that goes into this is things like articles, infographics, business directory listings, and the goal of all that, most importantly, is backlinks from other sites that Google already trusts. Because when Google sees other websites that trust you, they start to trust you, and that's when you start to move up more in the search rankings. Okay, so the BoostSEO method, that's what we're here for. It's a unique mix of actions that our SEO teams perform every single day. It's a combination of strategies, tactics, and the Launchpad technology that I mentioned. We feel confident we've figured out SEO for small businesses, how to make it work at scale, and this is the philosophy and foundation behind everything that we do. And it breaks down into these steps here. First, select quality keywords over quantity to become relevant for those keywords. That's the relevance that I just mentioned. 3, earn trust and authority for those keywords. 4th, monitor progress and adjust as needed. The 5th item is you want to maintain those rankings once you get to page 1. And the last item is build again with new keywords. Okay, so let's get into these items and talk a little bit more in detail about the work that goes into each of these. Okay, the first item, selecting quality keywords over quantity. This means that we don't optimize for dozens or even hundreds of keywords on a campaign the way that a lot of other SEO companies do. We start out with really exhaustive research and vetting to find the smaller handful of keywords that are going to perform the best for each individual client. This research starts out on your site. By the time your campaign kicks off, we've already done some initial research to figure out what you're all about, what your products and services are, what your what your content is about. So then we dig a little deeper into your business. We want to get a really solid idea of what you do, why you do it, how you're positioning your offerings. That gives us some better insight. And then we start to look a little further at your industry in general. We look at the whole variety of products and services that are in your space, and then we start to add to our list of keywords that align to the solutions your customers are searching for and that can position you better against your competitors. And then we start to look at your region. We look at how people in your area are searching for different products and services so that we can kind of craft the best regional keyword phrases that are going to drive as much organic traffic as possible. And then once we've got an initial list of keywords, we run everything through a 4-stage filter. Typically, we'll have 10 to 30 strong keywords before we start this filter, and then we're going to narrow it down depending on your budget. I want to make clear that we work with almost any budget in almost any industry. So there's a perception out there that SEO is hugely expensive and can't be done, but don't let your clients be swayed by that idea. So the first part of this filter, we look to see if the keyword is competitively balanced. So what I mean by that is we don't just look at keywords that have the most search activity around them. We look for the keywords that we feel are going to have enough search activity around them to drive significant traffic to your site, but not so much activity that these keywords are too competitive to rank for. And then we look at intent behind these keywords. Searcher intent is a hot topic right now. That's the action that the searcher plans to take after they type in this keyword. Some people are out there just for research. Some people are just trying to increase their own knowledge. Some people are, we want to find those people that have the intent to buy. And so we look for the keywords that match up with that kind of intent. And the next filter we look at is cost. We'll take your monthly budget that you have for SEO, we'll line it up against the keywords that we have, and then we'll look at and try and select the ones in the right price range. Now, we're not buying keywords like you would with a PPC campaign. We're just using the price of those as one of our evaluation points. We're looking for the keywords that are going to allow us to do the most work that's going to have the most impact to be successful. We don't want to go after a bunch of low-priced keywords that aren't going to have any impact, and we want to stay away from the most expensive keywords because we know we can't rank for them. We've figured out a sweet spot somewhere in between that's a great balance of the work that it's going to take to get them on the first page and start driving a lot of traffic for you. The last filter we look at is the current things that you're ranking for. You've likely, if a small business has been around for some length of time, they likely already have some keywords and search terms that they're ranking for. So maybe there are some that are on page 2 or 3 or 4 that it's only going to take a little bit of work to get them up to page 1. So after that filter, the final thing we look at here is keyword distribution. And this kind of goes in to the idea of quality over quantity. We want a less is more approach to this. And like I mentioned when we're looking at cost, the most expensive keywords, yeah, if you can rank for those, you're going to get a lot of traffic, but small business likely doesn't have the budget, time, or the resources to rank for those super competitive keywords. And then we look within your site to see, okay, the keywords that we've selected, where is the best place to start optimizing around these? Meaning, where can we put content around these so we can focus on a fewer number of pages to have a bigger impact, rather than taking the time to build out new pages that may not be necessary. Okay, the next item here is becoming relevant for those keywords. I already talked about relevance a bit. That's one of the ways that Google looks at a site to determine where to rank it. So once we've got your keywords selected, that's when the real work starts of showing Google and your customers that you are relevant, that you're the right answer for the search terms that people are entering. And again, this is all on-site work. It's done to align your existing content and code with those search terms that we selected, that we deemed were the best. So again, we'll do an audit there to find out if anything's broken, because we want to build a solid platform on your site before we move on to off-site. And again, I mentioned trust and authority. This is the other important item that Google's looking for. And we do this, I mentioned it was off-site work, and so we do this by promoting your business all over the internet. And the most common way that people think of this is building backlinks. And there are a few main ways that we do this. The first common way that we do it is by creating relative blog and article content and posting it on recognizable sites within your industry. And then we'll also promote you on local and national business directories. A lot of people think that directories are basic and outdated, but they're still incredibly relevant, especially with services like Google My Business. It's critical to have accurate and thorough directory listings in as many places as you can. And it's especially important for local, where searches tend to be have a stronger buyer intent. They want to know what your address is, are you open right now, things like that. So it's very important that your directory listings have that key information and that it's consistent across all directories. Another method that we use in building backlinks here is what we call article engagement. That's where our writers and researchers go out and they'll find relevant conversations that are already happening over the internet that focus on your specific product or service. Then they engage in those conversations on your behalf, and they'll post answers, comments. They'll really join the conversation and then point back to you. All right, this is another big one in our method, monitoring the progress and adjusting as needed. And this doesn't sound that flashy. It kind of sounds like, just keep things going as usual, but it really is important. And that's because of Google. Google is making changes and updating its algorithms pretty much daily. And most of these changes are unannounced. So if you're not paying attention to what's happening with search trends and with your search rankings, you can drop pretty significantly, really without any warning. So currently we're monitoring over 60,000 keyword search phrases that we're actively working on. And that monitoring that we're doing and all the data we have behind the scenes, that lets us make adjustments to our strategy when we see things that are likely happening with Google, these things that are unannounced. We can kind of catch it as it's happening and then adjust on the fly. And we don't just monitor the keywords that our clients are actively working for. We also track what we call halo keywords. These are search terms that are similar to active keywords, and we can keep an eye on them. And we do keep an eye on them because as the search trends change, we always want to be looking out for keyword terms that might be a little bit better than what you're actively working on. And that lets us shift strategy kind of on the fly within a campaign to help keep them moving in a positive direction and increasing their web traffic. And there are cases where keyword performance changes, but it can't be attributed to a Google algorithm change. So we also have a dedicated team that we call the underperforming keyword team. If we have a client who's got some keywords that aren't performing the way that we expected, we'll take those aside and do a deeper dive into what's going on. So, we're not only looking at the high level for our strategies, we're looking at the individual keyword level within individual campaigns to make sure that overall everything's moving in the direction it needs to be. Okay, next is maintain page one rankings. So the goal of SEO is to get to page one, right? That's what we're talking about. And yeah, that's because that's where all the traffic is, but that's really not the end of the journey. Boostability gets about 86% of our small business clients on the first page of Google within 6 months. But does that also mean that we lose 86% of our clients within the first 6 months? Like once they hit it, they're done and they just stop? I mean, of course not. And that's because when you reach page 1, you can't stop. Because if you do, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose that spot. It's like professional sports. You know, every year there's a draft with hundreds of new players. They want to take a job away from an existing player. So the existing players, I mean, they've got to keep fighting and working and improving to keep the spot that they've got. That's just like what SEO is. I guarantee that no matter what your business is, there are competitors out there who want to take your spot on the first page of Google. And they do it by working harder to bring their relevance into focus and build more trust and more authority than you have. The last bullet up here, where I've got, if you can't expand your marketing in other channels, stick with SEO. And that's not just a plug for Boostability. I mean, when it comes down to it, stopping SEO once you've hit the first page is going to have a longer-term negative impact than just about anything else. Like, let's compare it to PPC, for example. You know, if you turn on your ads, if you turn off your ads, like, you know, you disappear immediately. You're off that spot where the ads are, but you can just turn it back on and, hey, there you are, you're right back there again. SEO doesn't work that way. SEO takes so much more time and effort, and because it's got all those other people fighting for the same spot, in the long run, it costs you more to get a spot back than it does to just maintain it once you've got it. I mean, that sounds a little gloomy. So the last point, I think, is a little brighter. So what happens when you do get to the first page and you start getting all this new traffic and all these leads, all these phone calls and all the new sales? You know, that's when you expand. You keep growing your online presence with new keywords. Now, I mentioned halo keywords a little bit earlier. Once you're ranking for the initial keywords that were the target of the campaign in the beginning, then you start to expand and work on the other search terms that are going to have a positive impact. Halo keywords are the perfect place to look for those. Or maybe you're in a good position to start expanding your products and your services, or open a new location, or target a wider geographical area around where you're at. You know, once SEO is working for you, it's a perfect time to grow. Okay, that's what I wanted to cover, talking about the BoostSEO method. Let's shift to the other part, what we're here for, and talk about how we manage this method for our thousands and thousands of clients. So here is Nick Padilla.
Awesome, Jeff, thank you so much for that. I'm excited to speak about Launchpad. And you know what? Boostability has been able to achieve some amazing things in these last 10 years almost, and it's because of Launchpad. Launchpad, when we started, it was a DIY platform. We thought that business owners had time to do their own SEO, and it turns out that they are busy and busier than ever. So we decided that we would do that work for them. Now, Launchpad is a great thing for us because we literally live and die by Launchpad. It tells us everything that we need to do, both as an account managers and as the fulfillment staff. As you can see, there's this big, huge button that tells us exactly what we should be doing, and it integrates with every campaign that we have, with every task that we have within each and every campaign. And what we've done with this is every person on the fulfillment and the account management team has an individual kind of landing point where they go in every day and get their day started. Once we have this, we're able to track every task that's completed. We have transparent reporting that every client receives, whether or not you're spending $250 with us on a monthly basis or all the way up to $10,000 on a monthly basis. Every customer has a transparent reporting campaign that they can see real time to see exactly what's going on with their account. So let's speak a little bit about what the team goes into on a daily basis. So I work in the Lehigh office, and majority of our account management staff is here, and they sit right next to me. I don't know if that's a good thing for them, but they definitely work hard. And this is the dashboard that they come into. Every campaign that sits with us lands inside of this dashboard. Now, each individual is targeted, or they have a specific group that they work on, and all they have to do is help next customer, click that button, and it tells them the task that they need to complete, whether or not it's on the account management side or the fulfillment side, and it tells them exactly what they need to do. Now, we have this amazing technology that sits behind us that tells us what to do, and we physically do it. The technology doesn't tell us, the technology doesn't complete the work, we complete the work for it. And that's how we're able to achieve some amazing results. On top of that, this technology helps us with that tracking that Jeff was talking about. So we have over 27,000 customers. This is how we're able to do stuff in a scalable and reasonable way and make sure that we're hitting all of the service level agreements that we have, and we're making sure that our customers achieve those page one results. 86% of our customers achieve that, as Jeff was saying. Now, all of your customers will have an individual reporting dashboard that they can see exactly what's going on, and this is the front end that your customers can see all of that work on the back end in the last couple of slides that I was speaking to. Now, the purpose of this dashboard is for somebody to really understand what is happening on their campaign right now. This first slide, its purpose is to give you an overview of whether or not we're performing, where the individual ranks are, along with organic measures, and it really has a summary of all of the following tabs that I'm going to go over. Now, the next slide that I've got here talks specifically about keywords. This is a huge portion of what customers are looking for. So what we've done is we created a dashboard that says, hey, we're focusing on these specific keywords, we're tracking these specific keywords to show you what exactly is happening. It shows you where you started, where you're currently at, what current page you are at, and whether or not you are on page one. Now, if you've reached page one and you click one of these green buttons here, it will have an actual picture that comes up showing you on the first page of Google. And then the last buttons that we have there has an actual graph showing you your progress with that specific keyword. Now, as you can see on the left, there's two types of keywords. There's a main keyword or a halo keyword. The purpose of the main keyword is one that we're specifically targeting on. But because Google is so smart and they understand how their search engine works and how websites work, once you start ranking for your main keyword, your halo keywords are going to start ranking as well, because they're related to the subject matter that is on your website and the trust that we're creating in those links. Once that happens, their rankings will increase as well. Now, the next tab that we have here is a work history. Now, I've toured all around the United States, Canada, and Australia, speaking to Boostability, how our work is, any questions that a lot of companies have, and a lot of companies will come to me and say, hey, Nick, one of the biggest problems that a lot of our customers have is they don't trust SEO. They feel like it's just somebody sitting behind a keyboard doing some amazing nerdy stuff, and all of a sudden they're on the first page of Google. But they don't know or understand what's happening. And when Google goes through an algorithm update, their ranking goes down. So what we've done here is we want to be 100% transparent into the work that we're providing to our customers. The purpose of that is when Google goes through an algorithm update, or if something happens to the website, we want to fully understand what has happened with this customer, what work have we provided to ensure that they maintain that first page ranking, along with making sure they understand that there's an actual physical task that's being completed for them to be going onto the first page. It's just making them understand that there's real people here in the United States that are completing that work. So the next slide that we have here is the analytics. We have an API from Google Analytics that pulls organic traffic only to show on this dashboard. The purpose of this is you can compare it month over month, or a certain period of time, could be 3 to 6 months, to see how you're trending and what's happening with Google Analytics and the traffic that you're receiving. The purpose of this is for you to understand when you're on the first page of Google, the first page has more traffic going to it, and you will see an increase in traffic as this comes. Now, the next slide that we have here is just scrolling down of that same tab, we break it down into each individual location and which pages are actually being visited through Google Analytics. The purpose of this as well is we can say, hey, we're specifically targeting this page, and this is the traffic that you're receiving from this specific page. When all of this is put together correctly, you're going to see a trend line of more traffic along with more visits to a specific landing page that we're focusing on. Okay. Now, local listings, as Jeff was speaking to, is very important. The name, address, and phone number, or in the SEO world, we call it the NAP, is one of the most important things that you can have. That consistency across all of the listing sites that you can possibly submit to will help you appear in the maps portion of the SERP page. Now, what we've done is we've integrated our listings product into our dashboard to show you exactly which ones we have specifically optimized for, which ones are actually showing and doing something for you, and which ones we've opted out of, maybe because they're not going to benefit you. But this is a perfect way of showing you that we've submitted your name, address, and phone number, or NAP, to a listing to make sure that you become relevant in that location. Now, further on down that page, we have kind of a little bit of analytics behind it, showing you whether or not we've had more views in the Google My Business portion, whether or not there's been a change over time with your listings, and it will give you an overall sense of exactly what is going on. Now, this is something that is provided to all of our customers, to all of our partners, for them to know exactly what is going on with their campaigns. And this is something that everybody deserves to have, because there are tons of SEO companies out there that aren't showing their work. And you know what? We all need to be that angry 8th grade math teacher out there saying, hey, show your work, because at the end in the test, when you're on the first page of Google, or if your rankings drop, you need to understand what exactly has happened with your website. So Launchpad has created an amazing efficiency for all of us here at Boostability, for us to complete tasks and achieve those page 1 rankings that so many of our customers have received. So I think it'd be great for us now to kind of delve into a little bit of questions as they come in, if that's all right, Jeff?
Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Launchpad really is a cool technology that we have here. Customers love it. The dashboard really is unique in the industry. So it looks like we do have a couple questions here. Will the slides be available? Yes. Well, sorry, let me correct that. They won't be available as a standalone PDF or PowerPoint, but we will share this video. We'll put it on the landing page. Put it on a landing page. We'll email that to everybody tomorrow. Another question: are local and national directories the same as citation building? Yes and no. A citation really is just your name, address, phone number. Some directories only allow you to put that information. Some directories allow you to put more information, like the hours of operation, type of industry that you're in, other details. So yeah, yes and no. Let's see. All right, we're just reading through the questions.
So one question is, with the underperforming keyword team, do we need to request that the team to look into something, or do you do it automatically? Great question. So Launchpad, what it will do is, if something is not performing in a certain way, a specific ticket will come up to the account management team's attention. They will then order an underperforming audit. That will land with that underperforming keyword team, and they will go through a checklist of items to determine what exactly is happening or hasn't happened for them to go onto the first page of Google. Then we will address that with the customer. Majority of the times when that happens, we will notice that specific changes on the website that we have requested haven't happened, such as changing of a title tag or including the keyword inside of the copy of the website or in the H1. Once that's done, their ranking will go up. But to answer that question specifically, yes, the Launchpad will automatically tell us when we need to do certain things. Okay.
Another question about the dashboard and Launchpad. Do we customize them, or is it all the same? We can absolutely customize it for different partners that we have. Because we do the work in the background, we want you to be able to present the dashboard as your own platform. So when your end clients log in and through it, they'll see your branding throughout.
Exactly. So that customization will be mainly focused on the colors and the logo of the dashboard, not so much placement and whatnot. The overall outline will still stay the same, but the coloring and branding will be able to change.
Yep.
Now, the next question was, will we actually write the blog post and submit them? The answer is yes. We will do two types of blog posts, one of them being off-site, pointing back to the customer's website. Yes, that is posted. And then we'll actually create blogs for the customer and post it on their website if that's something that they are able to do.
Another question, who will make the changes to our website? We have options for that. Depending on your budget, we can make those changes for you. Every SEO task that we perform in our fulfillment department, it's assigned an hourly value or a value in minutes. And so depending on how much time you're budgeted every month, if you want to make those changes yourself, then it doesn't come out of the budget. But if you want to use the time out of your monthly budget, we can do it for you. So it's really up to the client.
Okay. Let's go really quickly. We have a question. How do you determine a keyword is underperforming? Okay. Great question from Lingos. I definitely know you guys. So Launchpad will determine whether or not an account is underperforming based off of their peers, where they're located, and their how they're ranking according to their industry. So if it's a competitive industry, Launchpad will kind of have their own algorithms to determine, all right, this hasn't had enough time, or boom, it's time to investigate and figure out what's going on here. So it's based off of their industry and where they're located. Okay. Next question. I like one of these questions right here. How do you balance local search activities to rank with Google Maps versus activity to ranking globally? Okay, many clients want both. So this question is going to be answered, and I don't know if it's going to be what you want to hear, but I'll explain why. Every website that comes in is a little bit different, and we are basically treating them as, as though we're mechanics. And it all depends on what their website comes in with will determine whether or not they're roadworthy for certain tasks. So it depends on what their website specifically states, how it's stated, where their services are, and that will determine what our tasks will be. So each website that comes in will receive different tasks in order for them to be found. Now, if it's a local search, of course, we're going to really focus on their name, address, and phone number. If it's something like an e-commerce website, there are different tasks that we will complete in order for them to be found. But understand that all of our tasks will be determined on what type of website we receive, if that answers your question. So this one.
Yeah, we have a question about creating content for sensitive industries like attorneys, and I'm just going to say other industries like doctors,
yep.
Lawyers like that. Do we get approval from the client before posting blogs?
So if it's on a website, if it's on their individual website, physical website, yes, we will get permission from them, and before anything's changed on their website, we will get their approval. Now, a link pointing back to their website, 99% of the time we do not have their approval or don't need their approval, and this is because it's not physically living on their website. It is off-site, and it is something where we're speaking in a general sense, saying, hey, let's talk about this subject. This is an overall description of, an experience that we've had, pointing back to the customer's website. Now, anybody in the world can create a link. Anybody can get that link submitted. So really, there's no requirement or need to get a specific, authorization for that.
Yeah, and to just clarify on that, when we're doing off-site content like other blogs, we're not writing about the client. We're not writing about a particular law firm or doctor's office. We're writing about a topic within that industry. It's not as much of a personally identifiable thing. So that's why we do that without getting approval, because it's more of a general industry topic that we're writing about.
So one question that Russ has, how many backlinks will you create per month? And I'm going to say it's going to vary. If you've got a customer that is only spending, $500 with us, it's going to be completely different than somebody who's spending, $10,000 with us. But what I can say is Launchpad will determine the exact link portfolio that needs to be created in order for that customer to rank for their services. It really does not matter, or doesn't matter how many links you receive. It really matters the quality and variety of links that you receive that will determine your ranking. Okay?
There's a question, do you have case studies for specific industries? Yes, we do. Let's get in touch after this meeting.
Yeah.
In the email that we send out, I'll put some contact information in there so that we can sync up and get that information to you.
Also, if you have a partnership with us already and you have a partner growth manager such as myself or somebody else on my team, feel free to send them an email and ask them a question. That's their purpose as a partner growth manager, is to ensure you have somebody here at Boostability that represents your company, and you can ask them questions and they will help you. Great team to work with. They're very helpful. So make sure you utilize them.
Okay, there are still quite a few questions. I don't think we're going to be able to get to them all, but we will copy these down. We'll write out answers and post as much as we can on the landing page where we host the video tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Before we go, I just wanted to talk very briefly about the next webinar that we're hosting in about a month and a half. We're going to talk about how SEO enhances other marketing products. This is a good topic for partners or potential partners who are already offering another mix of digital services, like maybe they're doing email, maybe they're doing website design, maybe they're offering PPC campaigns or social or reputation management. We're going to talk about how SEO fits in with those other offerings and how it actually enhances everything. So look out for an email on that. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. We had a great time talking about this. A lot of good questions. I hope you got some good information out of it. And look out for an email probably tomorrow where we'll have a link to this recording as well as all the questions answered for you. Thank you.